Welcome once again to Mount Tabor Grand Lodge AF and AM YouTube channel. I am Grandmaster Herbert M. Ware. I'm asking you to subscribe to our video channel if you like any of the videos. That way you will be notified when a new one does come out. Also tell a friend. And if you have any questions or would like further information, please feel free to contact us. We are here to serve, and that's our objective. That's what we set out to do with these videos, to provide a cross-section of videos so that it would serve both in and out of the Masonic Order. Just good basic life applications to help us all elevate ourselves both intellectually, morally, and prosperously. Today we're going to talk about the prerequisites for a Mason. Before a man or a person can be initiated into the Masonic Blue Lodge, the applicant must be a man, perfect in all parts, freeborn and of lawful age. He must come on his own free will and accord. He must also come well recommended and under the tongue of good report. You see, at birth, with the breath of life, every man is given by God a seed of greatness. But the world we live in today strives to hurt, harm, and hinder many of our young men. Those with blemishes on their records are at the mercy of the brethren and should seek the grace of God to allow them an opportunity to serve in the Masonic Order, where they can elevate themselves and their families. Men coming into the Masonic Order may start at different points, but all have the opportunity to end in greatness. So, no matter your past, all men come into the Masonic Order as newborn babes and are to submit to the rules, the regulations, and the laws of the fraternity. Should this be done, these conditions met, and this man has proven himself, he will have no difficulty in going the way all brethren and fellows have gone before him. He will be enabled to pass between the columns and receive that which brothers have been in search of forever, and that is light. Every man or brother who desire to thoroughly understand Masonry must be endowed with intellectual qualifications. In order to be capable of understanding and to appreciate the grandeur of the sublimity of its teachings. Therefore, if a man is not intellectually inclined, he will never rise above the foundation of the symbolical degrees, and consequently he will become a mere drone in the busy hive of Masonry. But know this, because a man is not, does not mean he cannot become. You know, Romans 12:2 says, "Be ye not conformed to this world, but by the renewing of your mind." 1 Timothy 4:15 says, "Practice these things, immerse yourself in them, so that all may see your progress." So through works, a man can elevate himself to the intellectual level to gain a true understanding of Masonic principles and precepts. Those who seek or who do not seek to improve themselves can go through the various ceremonies of initiation, raising and passing and raising, but he'll never understand the true meaning of the sublime degrees. If he is true, if a man is true to his vow and his obligations, he will be true to himself and his fellow. He will labor incessantly for the benefit of others. He will extend himself so that he's able to point out to others the path of path to light and truth. He will also assist others in gaining knowledge of the laws of love and righteousness, and by doing so, he himself will be elevated to higher planes of spiritual unfoldment. The first prerequisite for admission into a Masonic lodge is that the applicant be a man. The second prerequisite, he must be freeborn. Being a man, of course, means of legal age. But let's look at this second prerequisite. If we carefully analyze the true meaning of those two words, freeborn, we'll find that they in no way refer to physical slavery, but rather to the spiritual and mental bondage. Physical slavery is capable of being thrown off in many ways by the one that is enslaved. But mental bondages is most difficult to escape. The bondage of the soul is unspeakably more harmful to the individual than he who is a mere physical slave. One is compelled to believe according to what others tell him. The other, being held in simple physical bondage, is permitted to believe in accord with the dictates of his own conscience and work out his own salvation. Now, the constitutions of our order requires that every candidate shall be freeborn. The admission into the fraternity involves a solemn contract, and no one can bind himself to its performance who is not the master of his own actions. Nor can a man with a slavish mind be expected to perform his Masonic duties with that freedom, fervency, and zeal which the laws of our institution require. We find many men were born in slavery or born as slaves, and they proved themselves to be most eloquent teachers of morality and moral principles. Take, for instance, Epictetus, who was born, as history informs us, somewhere in the middle of the 1st century of the Christian era. The exact day is not known. But this man was born in physical bondage, yet he was mentally free. His writings proved him to be one of the great philosophers of the Stoic school. It is positively certain that he was not only a slave, but he was also a cripple. It is related that he was injured by the cruelty of his master, who subjected him to severe torture. While he was suffering, Epictetus said to his master, "If you continue, you will break my leg." He had hardly spoken those words when the limb broke, and the philosopher added quite calmly, "Did I not tell you what would happen?" Epictetus believed and wrote that the true aim of man was to live in conformity with the constructive principle in nature. He taught to obey the internal voice of the soul, to obey the law, to live the life. He also taught that every man should submit without complaining to that which was not in their power to prevent. And it is we're positively certain that he practiced what he preached and taught. So Epictetus dealt with nothing but the ethical teachings of Stoicism, and with these only in its simplest forms. And he stated them so clearly and directly that no one can miss their meaning. 3 of his most notable quotes are, number 1, know first who you are, then adorn yourself accordingly. The second is, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And the third notable quote is, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. He was resolved with a power that has never been surpassed, that none of these things should have control over him, that spiritually he would be a free man. Epictetus felt in the Stoic morals he had found the meaning of his enfranchisements. The Stoic plan of salvation, which he announced to his disciples with all the energy of his nature, can be stated in one word: freedom. Freedom from all that binds and enslaves the individual will. Freedom from vices, freedom from popular opinion, freedom from external influences. He recognized that the only thing in the world that has any real value for a reasonable mind is the character which the will in its freedom works out. Within this sphere of individual freedom, man may have good if he wills, or evil if he selects. Now, I say the good you will or the evil you select is based on your character and your doctrine of life. With regard to the whole course of life, accordingly, there is but one possible rule of conduct, namely, to make the best use of whatever is in one's power and take the rest as it happens, as it pleases God. He who follows this rule will most assuredly attain his desire. Through freedom, a man will in fact be as God, not merely knowing, but also controlling the good and evil in his life. Does the tyrant, says Epictetus, does he want my head? Let him take it. Has my friend died? I will bear the inevitable without complaint. The starvation threatened me and my children. Let it come if it must, for if it bring me nothing worse than death, which is nothing. But in whatever relates to my character, my dignity, my serenity, I am master, and no power on earth shall move me or hinder me from obtaining my desires. My brothers and sisters, in this account of Epictetus, we have seen that although he was held in physical bondage, he was most assuredly mentally free. He could believe according to the dictates of his own conscience. There was no power on earth that could destroy his attitude of mind or soul. His master could destroy his physical body, but he could not destroy the mental freedom. Now we see from a Masonic viewpoint what kind of man or woman our beloved fraternity is in search of when it says free-born. I do thank you for your time. Again, subscribe, tell a friend, contact us if you desire more information. Thank you very much.